Hello, this is Baal Kadmon, and I'd like to thank you for watching and or listening to this podcast. So we have survived the eclipse, and none of us were raptured. Fuck. So anyway, today I'm going to discuss something incredibly personal, but something that I think I really needed to put out into the open. And that is about depression. Depression for me has been an uninvited companion on my life's journey. Throughout my life, it made every step a little bit heavier. It's a struggle I know many of you have also endured or are currently enduring. And in my mind, depression is like a ghost we carry around, invisible to the world, but all too present to us. As an occultist, I've always sought to uncover hidden truths, to explore the layers of reality that lie just beneath the surface of our mundane world. It's a calling that sort of demands a certain kind of resilience and an understanding of the darker aspects of existence. But even armed with this knowledge, grappling with depression has been a challenge. And I guess it's obvious that even with all the work with spirits, we still have our struggles. Magic was never meant to be a panacea for all things. Although I've always had sort of a low-level depression in my life, it got significantly worse in time. I know I hide it well, and like the good Capricorn that I am, I often suffer in silence. But not too long ago, I hit a wall. I've forgotten, and still, even recently, forgotten birthdays and anniversaries and a few important events that I would have never forgotten before. I've been unresponsive to emails and texts for the most part. I just buried myself in my work to keep it at bay. I've gone the conventional route to handle it, but that wasn't enough. When I felt I guess at the deepest point of despair was when I discovered an unexpected avenue for relief, and that was actually ketamine therapy. A friend of mine was being treated with it a while back, and at first I was not open to the idea for myself, not at all. And that is because I didn't quite understand it. I mean, I saw it on sort of like a high level, like what it meant, but I didn't understand the details of it, Now you're going to probably find this funny, but I've never bothered with anything stronger with marijuana. You know what I mean? I tried shrooms once, but it was like really, really low dose, so it was nothing, right? I could never do a hero dose, right? So I know, don't laugh, it's fine. So when I took the ketamine therapy, it was just mind-bending, and supposedly it was the lowest dose too. And I took the lozenges, by the way. Some people take it through the IV. But this was through a legitimate medical practice. Now, yes, when used irresponsibly, ketamine can be harmful. I mean, just like anything else, right? I mean, you can actually drink too much water and actually die. You know what I mean? So anything in excess is bad. Some things, obviously, are worse than others. So ketamine, when it's administered medicinally under the guidance of doctors and healthcare practitioners with a valid prescription, it has been shown to provide, profound relief for people. And I have to admit, that's what it did for me. Now, initiating the treatment was not a decision I took lightly. I had to balance my doubts and my fears and the stigma associated with such a treatment. Remember, I've never done hard drugs before, even though in this capacity it's not a quote unquote really a hard drug. But I've never really ventured off into that because I never felt the need. The one thing that was a little troublesome was I would drink a little bit too much sometimes, but I never tried the hard drugs because there was something in me saying that if you do that, you're really going to be out of control. So I did not do any of that. But I opened my mind to the ketamine therapy. And because when your existence feels like a monotonous fog, you're willing to explore unconventional pathways to find that glimmer of light. The people in my everyday life are and were very supportive of me when it came time for the first treatment, and even until today. And I got texts, wishing me luck and encouragement, and actually some of them decided to take it themselves because they were stuck in their life or going through various aspects of depression. But I was the guinea pig of the group. So when I took the first dose, holy shit, it hit hard. My heart rate was skyrocketing. But just for a very short time, and my consciousness began to change. It blew my mind. It was a powerful spiritual experience, and it was all positive. All the self-talk was positive, and every single spirit I've ever worked with was there, from the left hand to the right hand side. And I know all those classifications are just to keep things easy. It was amazing. I laughed a lot. I cried a lot. And although I didn't see these spiritual forms, I felt them. I did have other visual effects, and they were mostly sort of fractal-like, just like you see in those videos and stuff where people are like, "Oh, yeah, I'm tripping out." It was sort of like that. It was really sort of like that. And the one point that I did cry was when I confronted my deceased father. I forgave him for what he had done, but I also asked for forgiveness because when I really think about it, a lot of what I have is because of him. If he did not make sure I learned Hebrew and other languages and had all of those early experiences abroad, I would not be able to author the books and courses that I do that have changed the lives of so many people in our community. So I apologized for being ungrateful. And when the mutual forgiveness was felt, it was an explosion of energy. I never felt anything like it before. And I have to say, it was liberating, to say the least. It felt like a key was inserted into a long rusted lock within my mind, opening up pathways of thought and emotions that had been long eclipsed by the shadow of depression, and my Capricornian stubbornness. So did I actually see my father or not? Obviously, that's up to debate. And I know that I was altered. Obviously, ketamine will alter you. So it could have been just a hallucination. And that's fine. Even meeting the spirits that I worked with, it might be a hallucination, which it most probably was. But it was still very impactful. Now, the next day, I woke up in a foul mood. But within a few hours, I felt this tremendous lightness of being. The heaviness in my mind started to lift, and it was such a welcomed feeling to be able to see the world again with a different lens. Now, I'm going to tell you, look, using ketamine as a therapeutic tool didn't exactly dissolve all of my problems. Of course, you still have to do the work, but it provided me with a sense of clarity and perspective that is and has been instrumental in my process of sort of moving past some of my own darkness. And it has become a part of my strategy against those depressive moods that I would have. And I would couple this with the personal introspection. Now, I'm not looking to take this the rest of my life, but rather at times when I need to clear my mind to confront whatever shadows are sort of lurking there. And I'm releasing this podcast literally a day after my latest dose, because I felt that I needed to do this. I needed to show people, you know what? I'm with you on this. I'm not. I know people think that I'm aloof and but it's not aloof. I'm actually just really introverted and really shy about things. But I realize, you know what, and I see in posts and emails and things like that, that actually, no, when I see other people struggle, I'm like, no, I get it. I get it. I'm not immune to it. And that is why I chose to share this. As an occultist, my journey is one of exploring the hidden truths and breaking down the barriers of conventional understanding. And this should also include challenging the stigmas and misunderstandings around mental health, because we all struggle in some way. And I wanted to tell you that you're not alone. I struggle too. I struggle too. The fact that I'm so, how can I say, quote unquote, aloof, but aloof is not the right word. Okay. It's not aloofness. It's because I just need that space, and I want to change that, I want to change that. And so my struggle, and perhaps your struggles with depression and the use of whatever medication you're on, if you're on anything, but my use of ketamine. And again, I'm not saying you should take any medication or anything like that. I'm just saying this is what has helped me. But I just want you to say, like, if you do need to go get help, that's not a mark of weakness, but rather a testament to the complexity of this human experience that we're going through. We all have our battles, our individual sort of labyrinths to navigate. Now, if my story resonates with you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Even those of us who have been in the occult for decades, I've been in it for over 30 years, you're not alone. Those who've just started yesterday and those of us who've been in it for decades, we all have our struggles, and it's okay to seek help, even if the path seems unconventional. Now, of course, seeking professional guidance is important. And of course, like I said, I'm not necessarily condoning any specific treatment. I'm just sharing what worked with me. And it's not an easy journey. And maybe for some, you're going to hear this, you're going to be like, oh, I thought he was this or that. No. And it might turn some people off. They might say like, oh, I thought he had it all together. No one has it all together. That's a myth. No one does. It's not an easy journey. But remember, in the occult, as in life, it's often the hidden, less traveled paths that lead to understanding and wisdom and self-reflection. So now, in my personal journey with this, I take ketamine every few weeks. Actually, I did it yesterday, but I haven't done it for like a month and a half. Because now, at this point, I've gotten to a point where I don't need it as often. But when I first started, it was like every 10 days. And I'm still emerging. I'm still coming back to the land of the living. I'm still not good with wishing people happy birthday or happy anniversary stuff or responding to texts. I'm better, but it's not there yet. I'm still working on it. But yes, I'm okay. A lot of people actually have emailed me, and those who were sort of acutely aware, they asked me if I was okay because they sort of noticed suddenly I went dark. I was still working on the projects, and they're still coming out in very positive ways, very strong ways, because I used that as a way to just sort of put me in a little bubble for a while. But I can say now, yes, I'm okay now. I still am working through stuff, like I'm still getting back to people. And that's tough because I get a lot of emails every day, and it just takes a little bit of time for me to get up to catch up. But otherwise, I'm okay, and I'm certainly slowly emerging back into the land of the living. And I have to say that I have a lot planned. I have coming up something you've never seen before. I mean, it's a program on Lilith. And then there's another program on Ahriman from Zoroastrianism. And let me tell you, I spent a lot of time on these programs, and I'm still working on them. But they will be unlike anything you've ever seen. That I can guarantee you. So I have a lot planned, so stay tuned. So anyway, I appreciate you always, and I thank you for your support. And I hope this podcast resonated with you. And I know some people will be turned off, right? Because there are people who like have this ideal notion of me or anyone, who doesn't share a lot about their personal life. And now that I am, some people are like, oh no, I don't want that. But that's an illusion. That's always an illusion. No one is perfect, ever. And anyone who thinks that some person has everything all set, they're deluding themselves. So I'm hoping that this podcast, this audio, will help you realize that we're all struggling. I'm struggling too. I'm one of you. I'm not, I might have 30 years on you. Well, some of you have 20 years on me. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that I don't go through the same struggles that you do. And they might look exactly the same. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, the occult is not a panacea. It's never been. And anyone who uses it as a panacea will find out in a very, very aggressive way that it's not. It's not. So that's it for this podcast. I will speak to you soon. So mote it be.